streaming. Hello and welcome to another BMX discussion. This is going to be good. We've already got people in the chat. In this episode of the BMX Stream of Consciousness BMX discussion, we're going to talk about whether or not we think that people, or we in general, are too critical of BMX. I'm just bringing out the pop-up chat, getting everything ready. So, to start this discussion, the way I do these is I just ask questions, maybe sometimes give my opinion, but kind of the point of this is to get you guys to communicate in the chat and in the comments below if you're watching this in the future. Hopefully you guys enjoy my background here. I feel like it's pretty representative of some people we might call critical in BMX. This is not centered. So, to start out, someone says, what you mean by critical? Anything that you could maybe take us as being critical on BMX as far as details go? Are we too critical about tricks? Do we think that there are standards as far as tricks go and landing things? Is saying that the resi doesn't count being too critical? So what do you think about older companies only putting older dudes on pro instead of the younger dudes? There is a video discussion talking about older BMX riders. Ask that question there. I would love to answer it, but this one is about whether or not we think that people are too critical of BMX, or are we too critical of BMX? And so I was thinking about this in the shower, because that's what I do with these. I think about this while I'm in the shower. And I was kind of curious, and I was trying to figure out what else is there out there that's like BMX. I was trying to think of a sport other than skateboarding, because skateboarding is, I don't know, because BMX is a lifestyle. Are there other sports or things out there like this that are a lifestyle the same way BMX is? Harlem, if you go back in my videos, I have a discussion just like this one talking about older riders. Shouldn't have to go too far to find it. But I'm curious, are there dirt biking? Okay, wait. My question was thinking of freestyle sports. Sports where it's no rules. Like if you think about BMX and freestyle, there's not supposed to be any rules towards what we're doing. So like, are there any other sports besides skateboarding and scootering? Like, I was thinking about snowboarding, but snowboarding feels like it's not as serious, or maybe there's as many people who just participate, but not as many people who are as lifestyle orientated about it because it requires snow. And I was trying to think, like, is there anything like BMX, or is BMX totally unique? And in that, I was thinking maybe some of that warrants how critical we are towards it. How does dirt bike have rules? Well, I mean, dirt bike racing and BMX are totally different because it's dirt bike racing. I mean, you're not just doing anything you want, whatever you feel like, unless dirt biking is unless there's a humongous freestyle dirt biking scene where it's a total lifestyle for them too, where they do it every single day and you live your life around freestyle motocross. Is there that much of a freestyle dirt biking scene? Either way, what's up, Megan, Carlin, Michael, Chili, Bowl Nationals have no rules, Chris? There is such thing as unicycle freestyle, freeride mountain biking. There you go. But it's still like the same kind of thing. But I'm curious to hear if within free ride mountain biking or freestyle dirt bike riding, if they're as critical as we are towards BMX. And I'm curious to hear what people think. Are we too critical of BMX? Someone says nowadays there's too much overthinking and not enough just having fun. Too much hold my phone and film. Too much that wasn't perfect. Too much just not just living in the moment, having fun with your friends. Well, if filming, hold my phone and film is how you have fun, then there's nothing. I mean, if there's nothing wrong with that. Is there too much overthinking? Oh, that light is freaking out. Do you guys think there's too much overthinking within BMX? I think it depends on what section of BMX you look at. And that's totally like part of the conversation. This thing is blinking and going crazy. I'm turning it off. And that's kind of why I bring up the question. Like, obviously, Rodeo Peanut was jokes and not totally serious. Sometimes it was a little serious, but obviously the grass landings and things of that nature were jokes. But to an extent, is that being too critical? Are we just setting standards? And in reality, the only standards that should matter are your own. But this is why I'm here. People are all worried about getting sponsored, not having fun. But I think personally, Simple Session changes everything, because Simple Session is more of a party and fun than a challenge or competition. It's all freestyle, man. If someone wants to be worried about getting sponsored, then that's whatever they want to do. Also, I'm still a little sick. I don't know if anyone knew I was sick, but you could probably hear it. I don't think we are critical enough. Why not? Why aren't we critical enough? And if you don't think we're critical enough and you're watching this in the future, why? Let me know why in the comments. Chris is quoting Matt Hoffman. He says, "You make the rules, you break the rules. There are no rules." Absolutely. 100% there. There's no rules. You make your own rules. You break your own rules. You look at all these sponsored riders on YouTube who are representing BMX brands, just acting the fool, promoting drug use, alcohol use, and a manner of illegal traffic on use on their bike. So that is one point. That's a very valid point. But I think that maybe it's not that we aren't being critical enough, and that we're not being critical enough of the right things, and we're being too critical of other things. We're making fun of BMX riders for landing in grass or casing or riding a resi or talking crap about people like Ryan Williams. But then we're all like, oh yeah, it's so cool to destroy property and promote drug use and all this stuff. No, I think we're just critical in the wrong aspects. I don't normally, I mean, sometimes I give my opinions and personal views in these things, and that's kind of my personal view on that. They glorify damaging property and paint BMX riders as law-breaking thugs, and we wonder why the up-and-coming kids are so disrespectful, why we can't get major coverage and sponsors for BMX. You're totally right, and that's another conversation that I should have on one of these. And I think that that's a really good idea of something to talk about. And I've had those exact beliefs and had that exact conversation with so many people so many times. And I think it's a representation of BMX maybe caring about the wrong things and in the image that you thought it was when you were a 15-year-old kid, whenever it was being promoted to destroy stuff and get drunk and all that stuff. I feel that they should have more skate parks that allow BMXers. And then they won't think that, hey bro, and they are the ones being followed by so many people. Absolutely. That's because we live in that culture. So let's try and keep this pointed at the criticalness of us. Are we too critical of BMX? Nefarious activities happen. Riding a BMX has nothing to do with it. Beer league softball. I'm looking at you. I mean, that was the other question I was going to bring up within the whole, like, is there anything else out there like BMX? Is it I mean, things like this go on everywhere. People are critical of everything. BMX is like, in reality, BMX, skateboarding, anything like that is just another hobby. Regardless of the industry business aspect of it, it's just another hobby. And within any hobby that you look at, whether it's cars, golf, or anything like that, especially sports, organized sports, anything like that, there is super hypercriticalness. You've got people arguing over stats of sports players online and freaking out about things like that. I think that it happens everywhere. Someone says, as far as are we too critical over a person's performance? Yes, in all capital letters. I think it depends on who you're talking to, as far as if we're too critical over a person's performance. And I think that certain people sometimes get away with things. Not get away with. See, what am I even going on? This is me being too critical. Why are these messages keep being retracted? Are you guys deleting your messages? It's all part of the conversation. And I'm just really curious to hear what people think. So if you're watching this in the future, once again, I'm going to remind you, if you haven't commented yet, do it. Let me know your thoughts on whether or not we're too critical of BMX. Not me, Brant. Preach on. I don't want to preach. I want to ask questions. I want to spark thought in people's head and not just say things, and I want to let people draw their own conclusions rather than tell them their own conclusions, like we've been doing in BMX for literally ever. We tell people what's cool, and then that's what's cool. That's why there's trends, because pros dictate those trends, and pros are telling people what's cool, and that's what they buy. And that happens in all over the place in different hobbies and whatnot. I'm critical of kids who show up and watch me shovel snow at a skate park and then don't chip in to help. It's almost time to shovel the park out. One thing to think about there, Jason, is if you haven't asked them to before or anything like that, the thought might not have crossed their mind whatsoever because they're kids. So maybe ask them to help before getting mad at them for not helping, and then if they don't help or they say no, that's whenever you lay down the smackdown. I'm just kidding. What's up, Tommy Dunn? It's freestyle BMX. I feel that everyone should be themselves because that's always the best thing. Absolutely, I agree with that for sure, and that's why I kind of wonder if being critical of BMX exists alongside complete and total freestyle, because and that's where the question is, if someone's happy with what they're doing and they're doing it totally wrong in your eyes, is that that's not a reason to be critical of that person. I ride my bike, have fun, and be respectful, not disrespectful. No reason to hate. Yep. Absolutely. So I think in order for BMX to be total and complete freestyle, you can't be too critical of it, but at the same time, does that mean that we shouldn't have standards for tricks? So we shouldn't have standards whatsoever. So like, if you don't completely click an X up, is that not good, or not? Does it not count? If you don't completely click a turn down, I mean, if someone's happy with not clicking a turn down and landing it, that's totally cool. I guess it depends on context. Let's talk about context, because context matters. I've seen people get dissed for such stupid things like what brands they have on their bike. Honestly, I'm worried about the future of BMX. I don't think you have to be worried about the future of BMX, because people, I think, generally know what really matters, and being dissed for the brands on your bike doesn't matter. I watched my friend shovel snow at a skate park, sat there and drank beer. I'm 38. He said no dig, no ride. I had to remind him I broke my neck 2 summers ago and won't be riding for a while. That's too funny. Or your bike isn't real because of gyro or no pegs. And the people who are hating on these things and talking crap just need to be reminded that BMX is freestyle and you can do whatever you want. And if they get mad or they talk crap about your bike, you say, "Let me tell you a secret." And you bring closer, and you say, "It's none of your fucking business." I cussed. Oh crap. Nearing 50, I'm glad to pull anything, clicked or not. So the only standards that matter are the person who's doing them standards, unless there's some sort of a pro making a video that's supposed to be set a standard, I could say. Even then though, if they're happy with something they did and they barely case something, or they clip the last stair, or they don't grind to the end of the rail, how many people actually think that matters? That's what I want to know. If you really think that matters, let me know and tell me why. I mean, obviously we want BMX to look good, because just in general we do. That's another question, but why? We want it to look good, we want it to look cool. I just want to ask the questions that you can answer in the comments down below. Zach Reiser says, not me, he doesn't care. I think there's a lot of criticism. My voice is getting worse. I think there's a lot of criticism, and when it's positive, it's all good, but there seems to be negative criticism surrounding BMX. Even was like this when I was a kid. Define negative criticism and give some examples. We will talk about this, because that's kind of the whole point of this stream, is to ask if we're too critical. And there is a difference between constructive criticism and just criticism. And yeah, we all deal with both. And as I sit here and talk about standards within BMX, it's like saying that just sounds so wrong, because it's like, it's whatever you want it to be. You can do whatever you want to do, unless you're in a contest and you're against other people. Then is there really a standard? I mean, I don't think that I don't think that people not clicking X-ups or casing stairs or not grinding the end of the rail has been a detriment to BMX over the years. Places that have jams and events for kids like the Wheel Mill bring kids into BMX together and grow up with BMX as a community. Then the kids grow up as non-judgmental people all having fun. I totally agree with that. The Wheel Mill scene is amazing, and you don't hear people being negative or critical usually when it comes to the kids in that area of people at the wheel mill. They're all always awesome. I'd rather watch a good game of bike on YouTube with guys that don't take it so serious than watch some sponsored punks swerve traffic and drop mad drops and ruin their rims. Some people do like watching that stuff. I don't care for it, but some people do. It's freestyle, I guess. I don't think it matters as long as the rider is happy with it. I'm far from perfect. Sorry. And I'm happy getting close. Totally. And as long as somebody's not putting something out there and being like, this is the best one ever, then do we really have a right to be critical of it? Or unless they're your friend and you want to bust their balls because that's what friends do. It's an ego with riders. Some do have that I'm better, but brush it off. We're all united. We're all untied family in a sense. We're all united family in a sense. I'm sorry. I'm just going to read your guys' typos because it's hilarious. Hopefully you don't mind. We're totally all united family in a sense. Sorry. 21 minutes. So if you haven't answered it yet and you're watching in the chat, do you think that we're too critical of BMX? I'm very curious. I feel like a lot of riders try to be perfectionists when it comes to riding or doing something, whether it be to impress or self-satisfaction, but does it really matter when it comes down to it? No. Boom. Freestyle. You're 100% right. If you want to be a perfectionist or if you don't care and you just want to land it, that's totally cool. And I think that some people would argue the fact that having this criticalness or being critical ups BMX in general because it brings those standards up and people just do better things naturally. But at the same time, I wonder if we weren't critical whatsoever, do we think that people would stop caring about how good they landed their tricks, or they would not care about self-satisfaction? I think it would show who is doing it for what reasons. If we just eliminated, and if we could just completely eliminate any sort of criticalness, I don't want to say criticism because criticism is different. Any type of being critical in BMX, if we could just get rid of it, I don't think things would change too much, because I think a lot of people and most people are doing things for themselves and for the self-satisfaction of doing it in a way that they want to. And I think that people could be understandable in their worry about if there wasn't criticalness, that it would lower BMX as a whole. But I don't know. How many of us BMXer friends have BMXer friends who throw shade at us for riding road or mountain bikes when we're hurt? I've never heard of anyone doing that. I'm just psyched that someone's on a bike. Maybe I would give someone crap if they were perfectly healthy and chose to go and ride a different bike instead of coming and riding with us at the skate park or the trails. But that's just me wanting to ride with people. I'm self-critical about how clean I want to land my tricks. I gotta say, if I wasn't, I don't think I'd have pushed myself as far as I have on a bike. Perfect example. You're not doing it because other people think that your tricks have to be clean. You're doing it because you think so, and I already talked about this. I used to be very critical of myself because kids younger than me were doing things that I can't, but now I'm just there to ride and have fun, not caring what level I'm at. That's totally valid too. I'm personally extremely critical of myself, but at the same time, if someone else is trying the exact same trick that I am and they're happy with however they landed it, and I wouldn't be happy with that, if they're happy rolling away, I'm psyched. Like today, Cody at the skate park. That I posted a clip on Instagram. I don't know if any of you would have seen it, but Cody did a crank flip over the pyramid at the skate park. Totally cased. It was terrible. It wasn't actually terrible, but he landed it, and I freaked out because Cody doesn't do crank flips. Now, if it was me, I wouldn't have been happy with that case. BMX can stop people from attempting. That's not to do with this conversation. You're totally right, Tommy, but we're trying to keep it a little more pointed than that with this conversation. And I think that this might end up being a shorter one today because, as you can hear, I'm sick and just, yeah. So, basically, I want to know, for anyone who hasn't answered it yet, if we think that BMX, or if we are too critical of BMX. I think there are arguments on both sides of the fence. I can see those arguments, and things are somewhat justifiable either way. But at the end of the day, I think that it's all about your own standards, being critical of yourself if you choose to be, and freestyle. Because true freestyle exists regardless of the level of criticism and criticalness. I watched the video of you at Ray's with no air bike, and you only gave positive pushes to your friends. Always positive to my friends. Doesn't matter. Critical, but at the same time, it's opinion. This is true too. That's another aspect of it that wouldn't have gotten brought up unless you said that. It's all opinions, and anyone has the right to voice their opinion at any point in time, anywhere. And there's nothing wrong with that one. Oh my goodness, this sickness. I did ride today though. If anyone watches this in the future, thank you very much. Wow, this is not focused at all. What is going on? 1 second. There we go. I didn't know that wasn't focused. Any other thoughts about this topic before we end this stream? Does anyone have anything else they want to add in here about the level of, what do I want to say? I don't want to say criticism. First time I've caught anyone's channel to comment live. Welcome, Alexander. Anyone have any thoughts on the question, are we too critical of BMX? Get some tea and honey with hot water, a little whiskey if you drink. I do not, but tea, hot water, and honey might be a thing in my future. Splitting disciplines is critical of BMX, judging flips against manual lines. I don't think we do that really anymore. Simple Session was the last place that I saw anything being judged against each other as far as park and street riding goes. And Simple Session split it up. Sky, I'm just asking if in general, in any way you can think of, if we're too critical of BMX. I'm just trying to stimulate the conversation. Any thoughts from anyone to keep this positive changes and bringing out more all-around riders, the do-it-all style? I think before any do-it-all style will happen again, vert needs to be popular again in the mainstream BMX, and so does flatland. And I don't know if freestyle, park, street, and whatever will ever combine again with flatland, because flatland has been segregated. That sounds like a negative annotation to that word, or connotation, whatever the word is. It sounds negative to say it's been segregated, but it's split off from freestyle completely. So to the point where most park and street riders have no idea about any flatland riders other than Matthias Dandois. Does Jed Milden's quad flip count because he threw it to Resi landing? I hear a lot of people hate on Resi. Personally, I would rather send something to wood or dirt than risk sliding out on a Resi, but Resi does help some people push it for sure. I see a lot of people hate on it. I think they are a good thing. This is one of those huge things about the question, are we too critical of BMX, is the Resi and whether or not it counts. Most people say it doesn't count. Some people say that it does. The vast majority say that Resi doesn't count, but when you ask that question, I personally don't think it counts either, because I think that you gotta take it to a real ramp in order for it to count. But what counts? Why? That's the question. Why? Because of standards that we've set within BMX as a culture, and we believe that things should be above a certain standard for them to count. Resis are absolutely a great thing, for sure. And I think that, I don't know. That's a tough one. I want to hear what other people think on that. I know most people think that the Resi doesn't count. My example is how I think that the Come Up posted a photo of the Mike D frame and called it ugly. Yeah, I don't even want to get into that whole conversation. I shouldn't even read that. Would it be that majority of street riders would agree it counts and park riders would seem to say no? I don't know. I don't know if it would. I don't think street riders think that Resi counts either. I think most people don't think Resi counts. Maybe that's because there haven't been competitions on Resi until recently, with like the new Nitro World Games or whatever that was with the Resi landing. I think that just does nothing but raise the insanity of stuff that can happen. Street riders can't even land in grass. ... That's one thing I'm talking about. Obviously, that wasn't a serious thing. To some people, it is serious, though, and some people actually think that you can't land in grass, and some people actually are critical of others and look down on them because they landed in grass. And to those people, I want to know, are we too critical of BMX? Nate, leave a comment on my crank video and I will help you out there. I've got, just search my name in cranks or crank length or anything like that, and you should be able to find the video. Leave a comment on there and I will gladly answer your question. But in this, we're trying to talk about this specific subject. Street riders can't even land in grass. The people who hate on grass should just get skateboards if grass bothers them that much. That's pretty funny. Yes, why can't you land in grass after hopping a rail? You totally can. You can, but this rodeo peanut posting that you can't land in grass has changed people's minds and morphed kids into thinking that you legitimately can't land in grass or it doesn't count. Sky, thanks for hanging out, Zach. Sky, I didn't think you were bashing the Mike D frame at all. I just didn't really know exactly what to say about that one. I think that the come up was a place that breeded the level of criticism. I have to say criticism. The come up just increased the level of criticism back in the day because of the anonymous comments and that people just hating on videos that, if anything, wasn't perfect. Arf, I'm not reading that, but that's funny. You're not truly an adult until you land in the grass. Oh, okay. Alright. I'm feeling like a whole lot of crap. So, I think I'm going to jump off here. Hopefully this stream wasn't completely terrible. If you're watching this in the future and it was terrible and you've made it to this point, I'm sorry. But if you also have been watching this far and you haven't answered the question, are we too critical of BMX? Let me know in the comments down below. Sky, real quick, are you on Instagram? Are you the one that did the crazy nose pick on the ladder? And everyone else, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I get better and can ride some more soon. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow in the news video. Nice. That's awesome. I was hoping that was you. Thank you for hanging out. That nose pick is completely effed. So insane. BMX is definitely in a weird place, but a great place. That does get me thinking. I think as a community in a whole, it's too critical. I agree. Either way, though, I've been trying to end this for a few minutes now, so let's actually do it this time. Thank you guys for hanging out. Seriously, thank you for choosing to spend your time hanging out with me and watching these videos. Yeah, dude, Sky, you're insane. Need more soon. Alright guys, we'll see you tomorrow in the news video, and thank you again for hanging out. Goodbye. Bah! Subscribe if you're new and you're watching this in the future. I forgot to say that. I always forget to say that part. See you later, everybody.